Hey guys, so I've tried to make this video now 4 times today and life keeps getting in the way. It's the kids, it's the animals, it's something. So I'm now sitting in my bed and I'm going to try again. Maybe I'll just leave it completely unedited. Just whatever happens, happens. So, and it's happening because the dog is getting on the bed and he's moving everything unedited. So, cannot with my life right now. All right, so as promised, I went down memory lane and I decided to go ahead and revisit JodieSue. Who is JodieSue? Is JodieSue a liar? Is JodieSue even important to the story? JodieSue is many things to many people in this story. She is either a woman who knows a lot and possibly even a suspect, and if not her, somebody in her family. And to others, she is nothing more than a liar or delusional, and she has no merit to the story whatsoever. For me, I think I always kind of was on the latter of that. Not necessarily that I thought that she was an outright liar, but I thought that she was often heavily medicated. I know she has health problems. Just didn't find her reliable. But I almost forgot some of the crazy things that have happened in the story where Miss JodieSue is concerned. And let me just say this, everything in this video is allegedly and for entertainment purposes only, even though everything that I'm going to say either came straight from her mouth in her own lives with other creators, or in interviews. On YouTube, still best to always give that disclaimer. I did reach out to JodieSue and give her the opportunity, as I always try to do when I talk about people in my videos. I have not heard from her at this point. So, JodieSue starts this story when she is the neighbor that hears the scream. That scream, thought to be critical when it first came out, because that would have been potentially the moment that little Summer was abducted. But as the abduction theory fell apart in the eyes of many, so did the scream. The scream was initially allegedly heard by JodieSue and her son Damien, also known as Andy Jr. They described hearing it, going out to see what was going on, eventually hearing Candace calling for Summer, and so the search for Summer Wells began on the hill. Some people later thought that maybe the scream was actually Summer falling victim to an accident. And because later JodieSue would then say that the last time Summer was seen was on her playground set, people thought that maybe there was an accident on the swing that left a lot of people very unsettled, because the way that it was set up, it was so very close to the trunk of the tree. And a lot of people described just how dangerous that would be had she slammed into the tree. If you remember the videos of little Summer on that swing, this little girl was a daredevil. Oh my gosh, God bless her spirit. She was just flying. You know, she was going so fast and so high. And many people said, had she ever just slammed into that tree, it could be a deadly accident. And then there was people who thought maybe that scream was actually Candace coming upon Summer having fallen victim to an accident. And then, of course, there was people who thought that Jodie was just a liar and there never was a scream to start with. And it seems like law enforcement really didn't pay too much attention to this scream. If they did, it certainly wasn't talked about very much. So then there was JodieSue saying that she came upon the boys the night of the search, that they were supposed to be looking for their sister, but she found them just sitting on the ground. And, she started to describe how they were, acting a little off, a little, peculiar. And that at the time she brushed it off as maybe they were afraid they were going to get in trouble by their mom, because they were supposed to be searching for their sister and they were just kind of fooling around. So there's a lot of just oddities, and her story seemed to change consistently. I mean, inconsistently, but you know what I mean. She wasn't consistent when she told the story of the night of the search. You know, there was always different little details or things just kind of slightly changed. But with each new telling, there were things that kind of raised eyebrows. So when she talked about hearing the truck, the door slam to the truck, people thought that was a little odd because how could she tell if it was a truck or a car? Now, some people said you certainly can tell the difference if you're familiar enough with, vehicles. My husband has a truck. We've had cars. I couldn't tell you which one is which, but, maybe some people can. And then there was at some point where she said that Candace had drove up and down the street. So, all these little things, I guess that they could all be true, but there just seemed to be differing versions, enough that people started to lose faith in what JodieSue was saying. Then the bombshell came. JodieSue said that Andy Bernard, her ex, told her daughter that he saw Summer's body deceased. Yeah. So I don't know why I didn't think that was huge. I must have really just not believed it at the time. But, it's kind of coming back now. You're starting to see that popping back up in some videos because people are now starting to take a closer look at JodieSue's son, this Damien / Andy Jr. Because if you remember in the beginning, there was a rumor that he had backed up and accidentally ran over Summer. I spent so much time today trying to nail down where that rumor originated from. And for the life of me, I cannot. There's some speculation that did happen and that perhaps JodieSue and Andy actually helped cover it up. I don't know why, though, if that happened, why he would feel the need to cover it up at all. If a child is out in the evening unexpectedly like that and you didn't see her and you hit her, there'd be no real reason to cover that up. And I think that it's as plausible as Candace having an accident and covering up. But I feel like in the Candace situation, she would have more reason to cover it up, because of CPS, because of her kids, because of Dawn, whatever. I just can't think of any logical reason why JodieSue's son would cover up something like that. So the other thing is, her son has been kind of talked about a lot lately for allegedly being caught on the Wells property, but that was after Summer went missing. So, doesn't that just really make him a trespasser, not really a suspect, if it was after Summer went missing? Every time that there's a crime scene, and I hate to say crime scene, we are hoping that this is not a crime scene, but every time something happens at any location, we talked about this in a previous video, there's always macabre curiosity. There's always people that are going to come around either trying to find evidence or just, get a sense of the location or, just kind of want to see it with their own eyes or, whatever. I just think that makes him a trespasser. I don't think that makes him a suspect. Don't know enough about you can lurk his Facebook page. Apparently the dog has an itchy ear. So I'm getting motion sickness as he's shaking the camera. So there wasn't a lot on there, though. There wasn't a lot on there to be noteworthy. He's really into it. This is the most insane video ever. But after 4 tries, I'm not giving up. I don't care. He's really into anime. That's there wasn't a whole lot there. So I don't know what to make of Miss JodieSue. She has been accused of being a liar, of profiting off of Summer Wells. Now, let me just say this. No Thanks Investigates Doug did at one point have like a Cash Appy thing, Cash App, or, one of those kind of things to take donations for JodieSue so that she could relocate, so that she could move off the hill because she said that she was being harassed. Beyond that, and I don't think that was a tremendous amount of money, I don't really see that she made a whole lot of money off of this. She may have gotten some donations, she may have made a little bit of money, but contrary to popular belief, YouTubers don't make a whole lot of money. There are probably like the top tier of people, or like the most popular people, that may bring in a good substantial amount, but for the most part, people do not make a whole lot of money. Now, people that have, when they do lives, and I don't do lives because I only have like 2,000 subscribers, if I ever get popular enough, maybe someday. But, for the people that do lives, yes, people will often send them, Cash App, PayPal, whatever donations. But other than like very few, maybe big donations, for the most part, we're talking a couple of dollars. This one might send $2, that one might send $5. So people will do that often to either just say, hey, we appreciate the work that you're doing. Because, a lot of people that start doing YouTube actually start doing it full time. It's very time consuming for a lot of these people. And some of them are really good at it. I've sent money. Sometimes it's just to kind of basically say, hey, I really appreciate what you're doing. Sometimes it will be to support the channel in terms of helping them get better equipment, to make it better, whatever. But most people are not getting rich off of it. They're just not. So I really don't think that JodieSue was making a ton of money. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe she raked in all kinds of money, but I don't think so. So that was one theory, was she was somehow involved just to make money off of it. I don't see her thinking that out, like, hey, I'm going to get rich off of this. The other thing is revenge. Some people mentioned in a lot of different chats that there was a land dispute between JodieSue and the Wells. Now, I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked. I feel fairly confident in saying that that is not true, that she did, prior to Summer going missing, if you look at her YouTube channel in the months and weeks prior to Summer going missing, she was ranting and raving a lot about land. And she was very, very pissed off about a land sale. However, I do not believe that that had anything to do with the Wells. That appears to be a different property in that immediate little area, but not pertaining to the Wells. I'm fairly confident that that had nothing to do with the Wells. Now, the other thing is, people talked about some comments that she made on her YouTube channel prior to Summer going missing. And I did listen to them repeatedly. This is what I got. She made some comments about how she basically couldn't stand children that were not hers. And then she made some inappropriate kind of jokes about what she would do to somebody else's kids. I mean, it wasn't like graphic or anything, but like, and I'm totally making this up, but something like knock them out or something. I don't know if they bothered her. It was something like that. I, again, feel very confident in saying that I believe it was just dark humor. It was just her being sarcastic. I have family and friends that say things like this all the time, okay? I don't like anybody's kids but mine. I don't like kids. I don't believe that JodieSue was saying it to be dead serious, that, she was going to go out and harm a child. I think people just read too much into it because, unfortunately, if you make jokes like that and 3 weeks later, because I think it was a couple of weeks before Summer went missing, and then your neighbor's kid goes missing, That's really unfortunate timing for your joke. And then she made some other jokes. She was at the time dealing with a lot of pain. She had gone off some medication, and she had cancer. So she, for some reason, was talking about how good babies smell, because they do. Newborn infants like smell amazing. And she was talking about how good babies smell. Then she was talking about how she didn't want any more babies because, with her cancer and her age or something, if it came out with something wrong with it, she would like smother it or something. Again, very dark humor. Something that, even if that's the kind of humor you use, probably best not to do it on a social media platform. But again, I don't think that there was anything serious to it. I think she was just saying it, thinking that, it was funny at the time. So I'm going to dismiss that. I don't think it was revenge. I don't think it was for money. I don't think that it was for land. I don't think that JodieSue took Summer. I don't believe it. Now, does she know something? Look, in this case, I'm not ruling it out. Somebody knows something. So who am I to say she does or doesn't know something? Did her son run over Summer? I don't know. I mean, anything could have happened. I've always said possibly, more than likely, in my opinion, some sort of accident. I just don't get why it would be covered up. Like, that's the part that nags at me, the part that doesn't make sense to me. Do I think JodieSue made up some parts of her story? Yeah. Intentionally or unintentionally, because she was on medication, because she just doesn't remember the events correctly, or just because she got caught up in the attention. Look, even when it's not this serious, you ever notice how whenever somebody dies or goes missing or anything happens to somebody, all of a sudden people who only were on the outskirts of knowing that person suddenly want to find every little example of how they were connected to the person or how they knew the person, because they get really caught up in being important in the story. That's kind of a little bit what I think is happening here with JodieSue. I think that she got caught up a little bit in being the person that had information. And she's really wishy-washy on certain things. In the beginning, she defended the Wells up and down. Oh, Candace would never do nothing to that baby. Then the Wells were all pieces of shit that, literally made life on the hill absolutely unbearable and miserable. Her husband was a horrific, abusive monster, but then she was there defending him up and down. He's not the drug dealer. He's not the one that did something to Summer. Blah, 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 blah. So, it's like she's like a ping pong, It's like 1 minute she's defending people, 1 minute she's turning on them, 1 minute she's defending them, 1 minute she's turning on them. I would not take things that JodieSue says necessarily at face value. I'm sure there's grains of sand truth in what she says, but I don't think it holds a tremendous amount of weight. And I'm guessing that law enforcement probably doesn't either, because a year later, even with some of the things that we've heard come out of her mouth, we've not seen any of those people arrested. So I'm going to leave it at that. My opinion of JodieSue at this particular moment in time is that she may possibly know something. Don't think that she's responsible for anything that happened to Summer. Don't think that the things that she says are 100% trustworthy. I don't think she's a horrible person, but I think she's, in the best case scenario, mistaken. In the worst case scenario, fabricating a little bit or a lot, given some of those things. I don't know. But tell me your thoughts on JodieSue. I'd forgotten a lot of it until I went back and looked at it all. I'd really forgotten a lot of it until I went back and started looking at everything and some of the newest stuff that some people have put out that really also just kind of recaps some of the past stuff. So let me know your opinions, and that's it after my 4 attempts at this video. Okay, bye.